Fit for Life Radio, coming at you live from Coastal Strength and Fitness.
Hey.
Whoop, whoop. We are here with our trainers, Will, the Thrill.
What up?
And for our trainer, coach / special guest today,
Hello.
Kristen Harris.
Hello.
She is, between myself, Will, and her, she is the natural expert on all things pre and post natal.
Natal. Why'd you say it like that, man?
Natal.
Yeah, how did I natal?
Pregnancy, births, whatever. So, but it's also a passion of hers. So as she went through it and learned on her own, she kind of dove into a lot of it as far as exercise and nutrition. So we wanted to share with you guys. We had a lot of feedback, people asking questions about it. So we figured it'd be a good podcast topic. So what do you think, Kristen?
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited too. Maybe I can learn a thing or two, you know?
Yeah. I think she's most excited.
I'm not well versed.
Why are you trying to
That
get
is
pregnant?
not a sign.
Oh.
What was
Not a
the
sign
movie?
at all.
What was the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger
Junior,
Jr.?
where he got pregnant.
It's
Yeah.
possible.
Is it possible?
That's what the movies say.
Arnold got pregnant, so
So we're going to answer some nutrition, workout, kind of general health questions related to it.
what to do when you're pregnant, after you're pregnant.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we should start it off with Kristen. Do you want to talk about, you are a mom, so how you kind of handled, your pregnancy and post-pregnancy and how it worked and the ups and downs. I believe you are the state record holder for birth. I'm just kind of joking,
At least
y'all.
I was 3 years ago yesterday.
So yeah,
Fastest labor at Mary Immaculate.
whoop.
35 seconds.
If you want pictures or autographs, you can come by Coastal
Yeah.
Strength and Fitness.
She'll be here all day.
So start from the beginning. Well,
When a man and a woman
Actually.
love each other. So I decided to get pregnant, and then once I found out I was pregnant, I came running to my coach, Gary Deagle, and I treated my pregnancy, which I don't recommend people doing, maybe, I don't know. I just wanted to get through it, and I wanted to do it naturally, and I wanted to be active. So I looked at it like running races. I was a runner for a long time, and I ran a marathon, and I haven't run since. That was 2009. And I was like, well, how did I prepare for my races? And that's how I prepared for my pregnancy and then labor and delivery. And then after I had a kid, I forgot to do everything. So I just walk around like, what the heck is going on? I decided I want to work out through my pregnancy. I had a coach, a great gym, so I knew I'd be safe. I told my doctor, and they're like, yeah, you can do the elliptical. That would be fine. I said, well, okay. My gym doesn't have that. Air bike it is. No, I was fine, and I felt safe doing it because I've worked out for a long time, so I knew what my body was capable of, and I trusted, the coaches I had at the time to guide me during this journey.
Yeah, so kind of with that, I know, and we have a question, so this kind of goes into it pretty well. What I had always learned was, especially if you were already working out, already doing strength training, then you get pregnant, it's definitely pretty safe to keep doing what you were doing, and then as you progress, there's things that you're eventually going to have to, not be able to do. Like you don't want to then do, box jumps or something where you're standing high because there's a potential to fall, or stuff.
Kick that baby on the ground,
or things where you're smashing your belly on the ground. But yeah, someone had asked if they said in general, doctors say how you could continue exercising while pregnant if you've already been exercising beforehand. What is the line there?
Well, there's some truth and some not so true stuff to that statement. So if you've been working out beforehand, powerlifting, anything that you've been doing, yes, of course, it's safe to continue doing exactly what you were doing. If you find out you're pregnant and you're like, oh, I want to be healthier for my baby and myself and my family, it's totally fine to start an exercise program, but just know your level you're probably going to have to start out low intensity, lightweight, or just body weight stuff. But doing something, even if you did nothing, is fine. And you shouldn't have to worry about the health of your baby if you're doing it safe, maybe with a trainer or with a doctor.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, it's really the same answer for anyone, right? Like, if you have not been exercising and you're starting an exercise program,
take it slow.
Like, you should be more cautious. So I think a lot of times what happens with pregnancy guidelines is, yeah, it is almost like fear-mongering, or like people then start to take normal recommendations super serious, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, a lot of the guidelines are the same for as if you weren't pregnant. It's just that people take them more serious. So, you know, then kind of off of that, do you want to talk about how, and, you know, as you get to the different trimesters, really the main thing is then eventually, yeah, you can't be exerting yourself to an extreme degree the closer you get, like with your heart rate?
Like, so there was, like, something a while ago, or
Back in
probably
the
for a long time.
1800s.
Like, don't get your heart rate over 140. So, or I don't remember the right number, but something like that. Because it could mean your baby's not getting enough oxygen. I mean, because you're out of breath. So, yeah, anything that you're doing that could affect the baby. But you should look at it more of like a scale of 1 to 10. Or I know in here, sometimes we did the talk test when we were doing the training with like heart rate. If you're extremely out of breath, so like a level 10, like that's probably not where you should be training. If you were doing it before pregnancy, you can continue working at that high intensity, but you're gonna know you can't continue in that way. You're not gonna even want to. You're not gonna be comfortable, have enough energy to do so. So as you like progress in your pregnancy, you probably can't do super high intense cardio, but you can still get your heart rate up and be safe. I wouldn't just check in with your body and you should be good.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. You know, someone asked how long into pregnancy can you do HIIT? 3 months, 6 months. And I think really, like you said, it's really just being smart and checking in. It's not so much, like everything's not with fitness, it's not like black and white. No. Everything's like on a scale.
Everything depends.
And like, that's the thing. Like HIIT is, you're going all out, pushing yourself. You always have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? If you're pregnant, and you're carrying a baby and bringing that baby, like you want it to be healthy, there's no need to like kill yourself with HIIT. Like you're not trying to reach elite fitness levels while you're pregnant. Right. So I think it's really just using some common sense and knowing, to listen to your body. And just like, when you start working out, you're going to be way more sore than normal if you haven't been working out at all. So your body's not good at recovery. So say you start working out when you're pregnant, you just have to use more resources. Your body has to use more resources to recover from the workouts, and you're also pregnant. Whereas if you had been working out, you recover a lot faster already. It's less of a stress. Working out in itself is already less of a stress on your body, which means more resources go towards the pregnancy. So that's really where the questions come with working out, So I think people maybe overthink or freak out the details too much.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's hard because there's so much stuff out there, and then it's always like, and then your baby's gonna die, and it's like, or you're gonna die, and it's too. I mean, it's all scared tactics. I feel like maybe not a scared tactic, but it is. I mean, it's just like, let's be cautious about this, but it's scary because if you are like carrying a baby and you don't want anything to happen to it, so it's natural to be like freaked out. It's easy for me to say now because my baby's fine and she's 3, and but like I remember back then being like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. Is she getting enough oxygen? Or
I think it's remembering like as a human species, like we've made it this far. Like
do some extreme stuff.
So, and like at the end of the day, I think they're out of this phase, but there was a phase where it's like a pregnant woman isn't supposed to do anything. Like don't even like walk to the car, and like, or lift
because they're delicate
a blanket, but obviously like, walking around moving, like your heart rate's going to get up,
but it's good
because you're carrying a baby, like there's extra weight on you. So it's not so much like, oh, if your heart rate gets to 160, something horrible is going to happen. Now, if you're like, doing some crazy workout where you're keeping your heart rate in the 160s and 170s for 45 minutes for the pursuit of fitness levels, that's probably not a good idea.
Right.
So now if you say you go to the gym, you do a strength exercise, then you rest for 2 minutes, you do another one, you do you ride the bike at an intensity where you can have a conversation. All those things are probably going to help. They're going to help you maintain your fitness levels. They're going to, have healthy effects and benefits for your body, which is going to translate to the baby. So I think it's just being smart, understanding you're not training for max fitness at that point. And then, just doing, and like we've always said, max fitness does not equal health.
Nope.
When you look at professional athletes in any sport, like they've crossed the line of, doing what's healthy. Like any sport is going to be to extreme measures. So I think it's just literally understanding that you're working out for your health, and that's going to mean no extremes.
Yeah, trade-offs.
So now with that, I don't think you did, but for active labor, so a question we had was, what are the best exercises? So, is that a thing now? We're maybe doing specific exercises to help prepare for that?
Maybe people don't know what active labor is.
I don't know what that is.
It's
Never been through it.
Usually it goes hand in hand with having a natural birth. So this person decided that they probably want to labor at home as long as they can before going to the hospital. Or once they get to the hospital, if they don't feel safe laboring at home, they want to labor at the hospital. They want to be able to get up and move around as they please in different birthing positions, or just not lying in the bed. Because once you are sitting still and lying down, it's going to be harder to get things moving. And that's one thing that, for me, I took an active labor childbirth class in Virginia Beach. It was really awesome. And they were supportive of natural births and births that were people that wanted to have, that medicine, Pitocin.
Avoid Pitocin.
Don't go to Pitocin. No, the things that doesn't make you hurt, it makes you numb. These women, I shouldn't go into this.
Things that don't hurt.
Maybe you want
make
to cut
you
this
numb.
out because
we can give it an explicit rating.
Yeah.
Then
Then Braden won't be able to listen to it. Poor guy. He just wants to listen to the podcast.
So it was exercises for active labor, just moving, and then being able to move throughout your pregnancy, and then while you're in pre-labor, or maybe at the hospital in labor, just moving in different positions. So maybe a low squat, kneeling on the back of a bed, sitting on a toilet, anything to be moving around to keep things going. If I can remember correctly from that class, they said once you're kind of laying down, the pressure isn't on like the baby to come out anymore, so because you're on your back. So exercises, just kind of normal
general strengthening,
strengthening,
that is why you want to exercise.
Yeah, exactly. Being able to move throughout your pregnancy so that when you're in labor you can still move.
Yeah. So now that we're on labor, so how long were you in labor for, and what was that process?
Do you feel like a superstar?
You know what? This might sound, I'm really proud. I mean, who wouldn't be proud of it? But I mean, like I said, I read a lot about labor and delivery, and I decided what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And I also was prepared for things not going my way. But I was in labor from 1:50 a.m. until 10:54 when my daughter came out. So, I don't know, was that 6 hours? 7?
1 to 10?
2 to 10, yeah. 8 hours.
There you go.
So at home, I labored from when I woke up. I was like, okay. And I remember this specifically. I trained on what I was going to eat the morning of my birth. And I asked Gary, I was like, what would be good to eat? I don't know if you remember this conversation. It was over Messenger, and I probably still have it. And you said protein, like a protein shake, or with water and rice cereal, because they would digest easily. Because I feel like they tell you for safety reasons. Don't eat before you are like going labor. You're not gonna be able to eat because if they have to do a C-section, or like once you get to the hospital, you can't eat anymore because if you have to do a C-section, you go in labor, then they don't want food and digestion there and all this stuff. So he recommended stuff that is easy to digest. So I got up and I showered and I made my breakfast. I couldn't really eat it. And then I distracted myself by sitting on my medicine or my Swiss ball and watched Real Housewives of Orange County.
There you go.
It was amazing, but it was also really awful at the same time, working through it, just trying to breathe and be present. And then also being able to decide, okay, I'm ready to go to the hospital now. I'm ready to have my baby. And then getting there. Can I talk about this the whole time? Because it's really
do your thing. Let's do it.
And then getting there. This is what makes me like the happiest. I wasn't showing a lot of pain, I guess, or like, I'm in labor, this is awful, like screaming. And I get there and I'm wheeled up because it just hurt to walk. And she's like, okay, fill this paperwork. And I couldn't. So I asked Dustin, can you like complete this paperwork for me? And the nurses, I was the person being admitted, and they're kind of like, all right, first labor of the day. This is going to be a long one. Great. It's kind of their attitude. And the lady comes in and checks me, and she comes back later. She goes, okay, well, you are 8 centimeters dilated. And she's like, I have to be honest. We thought you were only like none or 1 because you weren't freaking out. Or you were kind of like, oh, this hurts. And I was like, that's right.
It's tough.
Because I feel like I prepared the best that I could through like breathing and the exercises that I was given from my class and like what I've known, so I can control my labor the best that I could. I didn't want to have any interventions. I didn't want the doctor to break my water for me because I wanted everything to happen naturally as it should. Because once you start having these interventions, if they're not necessary, sometimes they are, but when they're not necessary, it kind of pushes you into labor when your body's not ready. And we forget that our body knows what it's supposed to do in probably most situations, and we should just trust it to do what it's supposed to do. And that's what I think is so amazing about getting pregnant and like having a baby or going into labor is like it's doing what it's supposed to do. And people are afraid. Gosh, why can't I think of the drug, the painkiller that you get? Are so afraid of the pain, but this can't hurt worse than breaking your bone because you're not supposed to break your bones.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to push a baby out of your vagina.
It's the human experience, like at the most real level.
Like selfishly, half of me had a kid because I wanted to have this experience so I could share it with everybody and like maybe help them have it too. I don't think I'll have another child because I don't need any more children. But I would love to be pregnant again and go to labor again. But
are you saying it was the sciencey side of your brain almost was part of the
I've never
intrigue?
been interested in science or ever been like, I want to like accomplish this. So I'm really proud of it.
I've always joked with
was
Alexis.
That your marathon?
It was a marathon. Oh my gosh, 8 hours. I mean, it didn't take me 8 hours to run a marathon. It took me 5 hours to run a marathon. So almost the same amount of time. But once I started pushing, it was so great. My nurse in there was a doula before, and that was something that Justin and I talked about maybe getting, but then I thought, well, having a stranger in the room could affect Dustin being my partner during labor, and then me like having to act because you're gonna act really animalistic when you're in labor. Oh my gosh, the sounds that I made.
Did it sound like you were working out? Basically, sounded like a gym.
Like in the class, they were like, just do deep moans, and this lady had the best moan, just. And I was sitting in my room watching Orange. My poor dog was like, are you okay? Are you okay? Because I'm just like, but like just opening up and like relaxing, like the pelvic floor helps things move along. And I feel like I could have another baby or like have labor again and just make it be better. Just because I know more information now. Yeah. So I think it's fine. People have different ideas how they want to, like, being afraid of the pain is fine. And if you want to have the epidural, I remembered it.
I literally just found it. I was going to show it to you.
I'm so sorry, everybody. If you want to have a epidural, that's totally fine because I remember lying on my side, like, probably 5 minutes before I had to start pushing. I was like, if I do this again, I'm totally getting an epidural because this sucks. But I don't remember how bad it is now. I remember having those emotions like, this is painful, but I don't remember like it hurting that much anymore. You forget because It's supposed to happen. I bet if you break your ankle, you remember how terrible it was forever because.
I can still feel it.
So there you go. Well, have a baby now, and then you can compare the two.
Yeah, see which one's better.
So, there it is. And I think, I mean, as you kind of talk through it, my thing is, just knowing you, like you had been exercising for years, and like you were healthy. Like a lot of people just get caught up in like the minutia and the details and the super specifics. But in the day, just like you're training an athlete, you're not really training them for their sport. They play their sport. You're training their body just to be stronger, more resilient in a general sense. And that's what you're doing, as a woman. You're just you want to be strong. You want to be resilient. You're just training your body to support, giving you the best chance at a healthy pregnancy, and worrying about like all the common sense stuff. Like, don't do exercises that give you higher risk of falling. Don't do stuff where, you're laying on your stomach. Like, those are most of the things doctors will tell you not to do. And it's not because they're a magic thing that's all of a sudden going to cause a problem. It's just that it's like, hey, like, this makes sense not to do.
Right, yeah.
Just like, hey, don't eat anything raw when you're pregnant. Hey, don't drink alcohol when you're pregnant. Don't smoke cigarettes. You should probably not do any of those things when you're not pregnant,
but
too.
Even more so when you're pregnant.
Like the guidelines that we kind of tell our members, like, well, you really shouldn't eat or drink alcohol every night. Everything is in like moderation. The same thing goes for pregnancy and like nutrition and exercise.
Yeah. So it's just actually doing the things that are intuitively right. And that's the thing. Like, there's always, the bad stuff that we never want to happen. When you lose a baby at some point, or early on or later on, like that's happened for thousands of years too. At some time, like that's part of it. Like that's the way it goes. So it you want to do everything you can to prevent it, but ultimately exercising for health, being mindful, listening to your body, like those are the things that are going to make the biggest difference. Right. And then you were mentioning your protein and rice cereal nutrition, so we'll kind of go into that a little too. And people are going to get the same answer, which I don't think they want to hear. But
we're not being very helpful.
Yeah. So a lot of people, are asking for specifics. Like, what's the best way to balance nutrition while breastfeeding? Is there a magic number of calories or just certain foods? It really comes down to listening to your body, like getting back to normal hunger cues. And I know, for me, and this is what I'll coach people through, like this is where, we all hate the scale and stuff, but the scale is data, right? And a lot of times we think, oh, well, we just ate more food and we feel guilty for it. And you get like, oh, I feel bloated and fat. But that's emotional stuff, like that's why it's important to weigh yourself. So you'll know, like, okay, now if 3 or 4 weeks go by and you're gaining 2, 3, 4 pounds while you're trying to, feed your baby, well, you're probably eating too much then, because you're gaining weight, which means there's a surplus of calories somewhere.
Yep.
So you have to get over the little daily and inter-daily emotional things. And just be a little, hey, like weigh yourself, track it, and that's how you'll know. If over 2 weeks, 4 weeks at a time, you see a trend of gaining weight, then yeah, you're eating too much. If you're losing weight, then you're definitely probably like not eating enough, So it should, you should kind of be like maintaining for a little while you're breastfeeding, so you're getting the nutrition for yourself and your baby. So, which would you agree? Like, is that kind of, how'd you handle it after the birth?
My second favorite topic is breastfeeding.
There we go.
3 years and 1 day, still at it. So they say if you decide to breastfeed, an extra 500 calories a day.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late. So having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out. If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
You'll probably need, and yeah, I've never tracked calories. I don't think, at least not during pregnancy or after pregnancy. I kind of just kept eating what I was eating. So yeah, I mean, I made sure that I was eating enough protein, enough carbohydrates, enough fruits and vegetables, and staying super hydrated in order to produce the milk that I needed to feed Eden.
Yeah. And kind of off of that, someone asked, is it true that your body tends to hold on to more fat while breastfeeding? So the thing is, that's super relative, right? Our body needs body fat for certain reasons. That's why if someone was 0% body fat, they would be dead, right? So in women, there's, guys typically get leaner than women because women need more body fat for motherly things, So we do need body fat for that. But the thing is, if you already have plenty of body fat, then it's not like your body's has to hold on for a specific reason or anything. So, did you notice kind of a gain in body fat or
Well, so I know some people are I want to lose weight and I want to breastfeed. Or that question was, is there a magic number? I think one was, can I lose weight, a healthy weight loss and still breastfeed? And I think you have to pick one or the other. Because those goals don't go hand in hand. If you decide you want to breastfeed your baby for a year or longer, that should be your main focus. I don't think that you shouldn't work out and that you should just eat whatever you want. I think you should do the same thing that you've been doing if you maintain your healthy lifestyle, but not worrying about gaining the weight or losing the weight necessarily. Because if you're just maintaining and eating the extra 500 calories, which is what, a chicken breast, right? A cup of rice and an apple. It's not
it's just 1 or 2 servings of food.
You don't have to. It's not.
Yeah, it's not a Big Mac.
Oh my! Or how it would be probably 3 Big Macs, or you can eat.
And I think
something that tastes good.
Where people get tripped up is like, so yeah, you do need this body fat, but you know, holding on, like losing and gaining body fat, yeah, it does come down to calories in, calories out, but ultimately your body only needs so much, you know.
And it's
so
just above your baseline, like 500 and like above the baseline. So if you're
Yeah.
eating a normal calorie intake for your baseline,
Yeah.
then it's 500 more
Yeah.
calories. But if you're breastfeeding, that's tons of energy.
Yeah.
If you're working out, so you're probably eating even more than 500 calories
Exactly.
to maintain your
Yeah.
sanity and to produce the milk and
Yeah.
to be able to work out. And it's just going to come off naturally if you're being, if you're being healthy or
Yeah.
trying to be.
And if you're, again, it comes back to if you're gaining a bunch of weight, then you're definitely consuming that extra 500 calories you need for your baby.
You're not going to get fat if you eat good, healthful foods, right? You'll
Yeah,
get fat.
yeah.
if
Unless you eat like you're like drinking olive oil or something, But
Oh shit!
3 pounds of chicken a day.
so I think the major thing is like, yeah, you want to eat enough, but you'll know by like you don't want to. You're not trying to get unnaturally. You don't want to get super lean while you're pregnant.
No.
It's basically
Yeah.
a short answer. Like,
and if you don't want to get super lean, if you're trying to breastfeed too, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's not a bad question to be like, I want to lose weight because
Yeah.
your
yeah.
body has
And if
been
you
the
have
same for
if you
9
have more
months.
weight to lose, if you happen to be like obese or overweight, then you can lose weight and breastfeed. So I think it's understanding, hey, where are you at? If you're already at a healthy body weight, like Kristen said, you pretty much focus on being healthy and like providing for your baby. Like that's not the best time to then try to get shredded. But if you're overweight, if you kind of maybe, which we'll talk about here in a second, like if you gained way more weight than you needed to during your pregnancy, then yeah, you can actually provide enough calories and lose some weight. So on that is the old adage.
This is my favorite.
You want to go ahead and say it? What is it that everyone says?
Eating for two.
The old eating for two. So
And if you have twins,
yeah,
you're
and
three.
I was a
Oh
twin.
my
Yeah,
God.
eating for three.
I think people get caught up in the eating for two like it's two adults.
Yeah.
And it's you and what did you say, a tangerine?
Yeah, like it's you and a 3 pound, eventually maybe 8 pound person, right? So people, they're getting a Big Mac and fries, and they'll say, I'm eating for two. Let me go ahead and snag that extra Big Mac.
Just to
Yeah,
make you
buddy.
feel better.
Right? And then you tell yourself, I'm eating for two. But
The only
remember,
time that eating for two works is if you're eating Ben and Jerry s'mores ice cream.
Yeah.
Then you can eat the whole pint.
2 pints. Oh, well, I've been eating for two for a while then.
I think Diego just said that for laughs. I eat for two all the time. So let's go back to the beginning. If we're talking about nutrition for pregnancy, before you even get pregnant, I think it's important to make a healthy habitat for your baby if you're deciding to get pregnant. So not a time to stress your body out by doing carb cycling or like removing things from your diet, just eating mindfully, like what we tell our members every day here in our nutrition training, just healthy habits, eating when you're full, eating when you're hungry, not because it's noon and it's time to eat, but I'm not hungry yet. Just the normal habits we tell people, and that will help your body prepare to get pregnant and not making it stressful, because trying to have a baby could be stressful enough for some people. So just trying to be relaxed about it as possible. First trimester, you shouldn't have to change calories too much. Just being the same. And second and third, your calorie intake will go up maybe to 300 and then maybe up to 400 in the third. And then if you decide to breastfeed, that's where the 500 comes in.
And-
So 300. Put that
Above the baseline.
Well, in
Above,
context
so that's
of
the
food.
important thing, is above a baseline, so that's
So what's the
baseline,
normal
meaning
baseline?
maintenance of what you should be
Yeah.
eating for your weight. So for say an average height, lady, say their baseline's about 1,800 calories to maintain weight, right? So then from there, but if you've been eating way more than that, you don't necessarily need to add
Yeah, like you're
add
already,
to it.
You're
Yeah.
already at the point you need to be at to support
Yeah,
your baby.
because remember, extra calories and extra body fat and weight is a surplus of calories. And when you have a baby, like Kristen said, you're adding these calories as the baby grows, so that you're getting enough. But if you already are getting enough and having a surplus,
You don't need to add anything.
you don't need to add anything.
Yep.
So, that's where it happens. In the general recommendations and numbers are, depending on if you're like thinner or average weight, is anywhere between like 15 and 35 pounds is how much extra weight you should gain from a pregnancy, right? So if you end up gaining 70, 80 pounds during your pregnancy.
You're eating for 3.
And you know what that is? It's not the food you're eating. It's like all the stuff that's happening, the baby getting bigger, and then the fluid and like the placenta. That's the weight. It's not.
Yeah, like it's not like
it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, like I think that's what happens is what you're talking about. A lot of that weight
like,
gained is like pregnancy stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we're like bears and you have to like
Storing all
cushion
this
yourself so that you have like some layer to protect the baby from the rest of the world or something. So, that's where it's just like, hey, like again, it comes back to with the exercise stuff, like do the healthy things for yourself individually. So like learn to eat at maintenance at an amount of food that puts you at a healthy weight. Then when you get pregnant, you can then slowly add the calories based on being at a healthy weight and a good food intake. And then you have a better grasp and handle on things. So,
and just to also be clear in like nutrition or exercise, you're already stressed out enough because you're pregnant or trying to get pregnant. It's not also the time to like start stressing out about nutrition and exercise. So, maybe asking somebody that is experienced in it or a trainer that knows. And if you want to eat Snickers every day, then eat the freaking Snickers every day because it's not going to kill you. And try to be relaxed throughout it too, because there's already enough going on with worrying about killing your baby because you're doing too many burpees.
Yeah, just eat healthy, like you want to have protein and certain vitamins and minerals that come from eating food, healthy foods, which you should be doing that when you're not pregnant.
Right.
So I think the biggest takeaway is be as healthy as possible before you get pregnant, and like just to be a healthy person, to then be you're going to be a healthier, for lack of better words, vessel to then carry the baby. So I think when you try to, I'm one to get pregnant, I am pregnant, and then you're like, I need to like change my entire lifestyle. That's just not ideal in itself. Like we can tell you all these things to do, but that's a big stress on your body. At that point, it might be better not to change much, to not stress out. Again, stress is like a variable that we can't control or put like a number on, so it's hard for people to understand, but it's real. So
I mean, walking is still exercise. It's still moving. It's going to help anything. Yeah. I read a neat little thing in a blog one time about exercising while you're pregnant leads to your baby's development in the brain and how they could be like a little bit smarter, maybe even more active. And it was really interesting how you do play a big role, not to stress anybody out and be like, I do have to do all this stuff, but it's maybe something to think about. If you think that you have to join a gym because you're pregnant now, you don't have to. You can do exercise at home, body weight, or walk the Nolan Trail, and you'll be just fine doing that. And then you'll probably feel better too, because exercise, it makes you look better and feel better physically, but mentally too. I mean, just in all the trimesters, you're going through different things. So if you're able to work out, maybe that can also reduce the stress level.
Yep. So I guess to kind of like wrap it up nice and cleanly, I would say, and then we'll see, this is kind of what I took from it with Kristen, and then we'll let her confirm, is that ultimately, it comes down to not stressing the details so much, and starting where you are. So if you've been exercising and everyone knows doing some strength training and walking is good for you, like keep doing it. If you've been doing nothing and you want to add something, like simply walking is going to be helpful. Like no one's, it's a safe exercise. No one's, arguing that you can get hurt doing it. Then from there with your nutrition, if you've been eating healthy, you probably need to eat a little more. If you haven't, and you eat a lot of food or don't have a good grasp on your nutrition, maybe just worry about eating a bit healthier food. So if you eat no apples, like start eating an apple. Or if you have no protein intake, start increasing your protein intake. Don't worry so much about exact numbers and like, oh, I need to take out this food and add this much food, because that's a lot of that's going to add stress too. So then from there, this would probably be a whole nother episode, but you mentioned like the breathing techniques and all that. I think that's a big part of the delivery and pregnancy and relieving stress is breathing. So, that could be a daily thing too. If you want to, I'm sure maybe if you did it again, I'm sure that would be something that you would think about. But yeah.
Well, how's this one go with my breathing? I had my breathing strategy down, and now I improved my time by 3 hours.
There's no trial runs. Well, I guess you could. You could be like a surrogate, right?
I guess.
Just to like,
would you ever do that?
Get really efficient.
I've thought about it. I thought about me even before I had a baby because my friend moved to Hawaii and she's like, "Hey, I found a job. You can be a surrogate for like $90,000." I was like, "That's tempting." You know what?
I might be a surrogate.
I think it'd be fun to be a surrogate.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be hard too because you're carrying the. I mean, I think it'd be hard to separate. I know. So we had a member that was a surrogate twice. I don't want to call her out, but I had a lot of respect for her for doing it. Twice. I know. How amazing. Yeah. And it's really inspiring.
She probably got a lot of good data.
I know. We should have had her come on. And she has 2 children. Jeez.
Why do you want to do this? I'm just trying to collect some data for my next run. I need to get a little practice in.
I got to answer some podcast questions.
Who knows if I'll have another one, but.
Oh, man.
So what's your recap then? Someone comes in the gym, sits down, and is like, and you got 2 minutes to give them a run through. What's your kind of...
You have 30 seconds. Go.
Nutrition, keep it easy, be mindful, don't do a lot of changing. If you're there's been plenty of pregnancies, people have eaten Big Macs the whole time, and their babies are fine.
Big Macs actually have a lot of nutrition.
They do.
It's 2 patties.
Yeah, it's a lot of protein
it's the
and
fries and the drink with it they get you.
Yeah,
just
beef.
get diet soda and then you're good.
Yeah, large fried diet soda.
Yeah.
I'm on a diet. And then exercise. I mean, even the minimum of I don't want to say minimum, but just walking is fine. Or coming in and doing one of our strength classes. Any coach can modify for you. You don't have to do what's on the board. You can do less reps, less sets.
Yeah. And the way we've done it, so with clients, when Kristen was a client, is we tell them in the beginning they don't need to change much, if they've been coming. And then as they get further along, we'll eventually, eliminate the jumping. When we do step-ups on high boxes, we, have them stop doing that. When we have hit circuits, we have them stop doing that and just stay aerobic, so where they can breathe through their nose and have a conversation on cardio days. So literally, on a general sense, it's just cutting out the extreme stuff, and it becomes just, hey, do some sets of strength training, rest for a couple minutes in between, do some low intensity cardio. So that's in a general sense, where you go with the training, like basic strength stuff, low intensity cardio, 2 to 4 times a week, and then walking, and then listen, if you wake up and you have no energy and you just feel crappy, like don't work out that day or the next day.
You'll need more recovery.
Yeah.
Especially that first run, so you're tired all the time. So just taking more time to recover or sleep is best.
Yeah.
If you're new to working out, and even if you've been working out.
Yeah. And with nutrition, it's like I prefer you to focus more on getting high quality nutrition, like nutrients, versus, I'm trying to eat the perfect amount of food, more or less, because here's the thing, if you just get nutrients, because that's going to be important for your baby, then, hey, if you're starving, you wake up hungry, eat a little more that day. If you're never hungry and you're just full all the time, then you could probably eat a little less, and watch the scale, so if, generally, you're going to gain 20 to 30 pounds, over 9 months.
It shouldn't be 30.
Whip out the calculator and do the math, but, you're not gaining 15 pounds a month. So if you do that, you can probably cut back on the food a little. So, and like we mentioned, the Big Mac, fast food gets a bad rap, but the reason, a lot of people crave it is because it is like nutrient dense and calorie dense. So like Will mentioned, when you throw in fries and soda, you're just tripling the calories, right? But a burger like beef has a lot of micronutrients, and it's protein, Same thing with dairy. Dairy is full of a lot of vitamins and stuff. Obviously, some people might be lactose intolerant. That's separate. But again, like protein foods, dairy foods are going to be super nutrient dense and good for pregnant ladies. That's why they crave burgers and milkshakes. So
if you're not pregnant.
Yeah. So and when you're not pregnant, right? So we don't crave foods actually. And now I'm getting all excited and getting off.
You're missing something.
Yeah, you crave nutrients, right? So that again, like no one craves,
pizza,
celery when they're pregnant because it's mostly water, So now, when you're dieting, it's good because it's just like this empty food that will help you feel full. But when you actually need nutrients, you're going to crave, things like, salty foods, which don't forget, salt is like 60% sodium. Sodium is a mineral that your body has to have to live, to thrive. So that's why you crave those salty foods. So don't feel like a bad person for eating a burger and a milkshake. I would rather a nursing mom eat a burger and a milkshake than a salad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
an 8-calorie salad.
So I think a lot of people fall, I got to eat healthy, and to them healthy means 8-calorie bowl of lettuce. But it's actually not you're going to be craving a burger because you want protein, you want zinc, you want these minerals and vitamins. So again, but remember, you don't need 4 burgers in one sitting.
Can I talk about breastfeeding again?
Yeah, let's talk about boobies.
Is there a magic food, or I think also about just working out affect your milk supply or your lactation? And if you're working out and not staying hydrated and not eating enough food, it will affect your supply. And types of food, it just depends. I think to produce more milk, you can just have oatmeal. That's one thing. Brewer's yeast is something that'll help produce more milk. But as long as if breastfeeding is something that you really want to do throughout the first year of the baby's life or longer, you just have to take your baby to breast every time it cries. Because this is interesting. We talked about the other day about, babies are so natural and they only go off of instinct and survival. Mm-hmm. So every time they cry, they only need 3 things: fed, they're uncomfortable, or I don't know, they're tired.
They gotta sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. So Eden's crying. Okay, I'll put you on my boob. 9 times out of 10, that's what she wanted.
They're not missing their PlayStation.
Right.
Yeah.
They came from a place they got fed all the time, and it was white noise and warm and cozy and dark, and then they come into this world where it's loud and they don't get fed whenever they want or as much as they were before. And so if you're worried about milk supply and you think it's because you're working out or not working out or not eating the right foods, maybe you just need to breastfeed a little bit more. And I wouldn't recommend putting a baby on a structure when you're trying to breastfeed. Always take it to breast. That's how your body's going to know how much milk it needs. Isn't that with other things? As long as you're doing the thing your body needs, it'll know to produce it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
It's really a beautiful thing when you boil it down, because there's so, how everyone knows every animal's natural diet, right? Mm-hmm. But humans aren't really sure. But one thing we are sure of is when you're a baby and just born, breast milk is that's one thing. That's the perfect food. Mm-hmm. And they're finding, now babies that are breastfed, there's lots of benefits to it. So, and again, it's like anything else. You have to practice it. You're not going to be great at it right away. Right. So like Kristen was saying, don't be hard on yourself, or maybe try to be super rigid. Yeah. So I don't remember, but I can't give you any tips. I was on the other end of it. So, but yeah, I think in its essence, almost step back from it. Don't let it stress you out, and just almost be hey, this is this is as simple and natural as it gets. And we, if you're ever confused about anything, it's not supposed to be confusing. It's really...
That was really confusing. I don't understand what you just said.
But you know what I'm saying? to breastfeed is like, I mean, that was
it's like the simple, most straightforward, like basic.
That was the answer.
Thing that we do.
Even only 150 years ago, like that was how it worked. So it does work. It's just like it might not be as easy as you want it to be.
Right, and there could be other things that make the supply not as great, and I don't know all of those. I just know how it worked for me and what I learned from the class I took and the lactation specialists that I worked with.
Yeah. So, and they, you were mentioning like the foods that help. They were all, and I think there's some, like they were all carby foods, and carbs break down to glucose. Glucose in your body, so glucose is a part of breast milk. So breast milk is mostly, like any food, is protein, fats, and carbs. So in general, you want to make sure you're not eating some kind of diet where you're eliminating any of those things, So because to be able to make a liquid that's protein, fats, and carbs, you need to be eating protein, fats, and carbs. So again, that's why, if someone's just eating a salad, like they're not getting any fat, they're not getting any carbs. Or any protein, right? So
fiber, and
that's going to be a problem, So make sure you're eating a well-rounded diet. You're not trying to eliminate anything, and that's only going to help. So, boom.
All right.
Is that? I know you want to talk more about.
Oh my gosh.
About the actual
how many more hours?
Birthing and then breastfeeding, but I think we'll wrap it up with that. So, and again, this was fun because we had so many specific questions, and we love it. But I think the cool thing is understanding a lot of the specific questions. The answers are really more in just listen to your body. Don't worry about the extremes. Don't almost be fear mongered into certain stuff, and just do what makes sense. On just a general level, a lot of times is the correct answer. So
yeah. And don't overstress yourself.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Woosah.
Rub your earlobes or do whatever you have to do.
Nope. If you don't, what movie was that? Bad Boys 2?
Martin Lawrence.
With Martin Lawrence and Will Smith.
Woosah.
Woosah. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed it. Let us know. We can have Kristen on more.
I think we're going to have to do a part 2.
Yep, part 2.
We didn't even get into the pelvic floor.
We'll have Kristen be a surrogate and then just
document
the entire process.
If you want the best baby, let me have it for you.
There we go. All right, guys. Hit us up on social. So if you're in Newport News, Virginia, you can go to coastalfitnessva.com. That's the gym. Or, just holler at us on our Instagrams. We'll post them up in the post. All right.
Later.
Bye.
As always, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to learn more, check us out at coastalfitnessva.com or garydeagle.com. We'll see you next time.